Live from Pawtucket, it's a mad show. Welcome to the program, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Stephen Buckner, joined tonight by my lovely co-host, PJ Pat Tierney. And tonight we're going to talk about summer movies, like we do. It's summer, we're smack dab in the middle of summer movie season. So Pat wasn't here when we talked about Mandalorian and Grogu, when we talked about it on a previous show. So we'll talk about that again to get Pat's take on it a little later in the show. But we're going to talk about a couple of new releases first. We're going to talk about Disclosure Day, which was the #1 movie this past weekend. But we're also going to talk about, first we're going to talk about Masters of the Universe.
Which is He-Man, right?
He-Man, yeah.
Yeah, because that was popular when you're a little bit older than me, when you were like that age, and I was very small, but I was not into it, and I don't remember anything. My only frame of reference of like Grayskull and "We Shall Meet Again" are memes on Instagram.
Yeah. He-Man was something that, it was very popular, but for a short period of time. It hasn't had like the legs that something like Transformers had, or even G.I. Joe had. But it was very popular, like when I was in elementary school.
Yeah, like He-Man and Voltra. I mean, He-Man his whole thing is "I am the power," and the thing I was really into as a kid was Captain Planet, whose "the power is yours." Okay. The exact opposite.
They talked about speaking of Captain Power. I never really watched it, but when they were talking about Ted Turner a while back doing his memorial, they actually brought up Captain Power because they were talking about how he was, what's the word I'm looking for? A nature activist. And that show was kind of a result of him being a nature activist. But that's a weird tangent.
Yeah.
But Masters of the Universe, like I said, it was very popular when I was a kid. I was into it. I had a lot of the toys. I remember, I don't know if you remember, there used to be a department store on Armistice Boulevard called Stewart's, which now I don't know if that's empty. It became two different supermarkets and something else, and now in the gym for a while or something. I'm not sure what's there now. But I used to go to Stewart's all the time, like on my bike, go to the toy section and see if they had any new Masters of the Universe toys. And whatever, I would save my allowance so that I could buy like a new toy. But it's like, it was always like variations on the same characters. Like, they had a million side characters and villains and whatnot. But they always came out with like variations of the main characters so that you could get like He-Man and Skeletor with the battle damage breastplate, where like if you push a little button it would rotate and all of a sudden they'd have like dents in their armor and stuff like that. But Masters of the Universe was one of those shows that was pretty much just an advertisement for toys.
Yeah,
just like Transformers.
Which was a lot of 80s cartoons.
Almost all of them.
Almost all of them
were advertisement for toys.
Except for the ones that were based off of R-rated movies that were to sell toys, like Aliens and RoboCop. Yeah. Those had cartoons. I don't know if Aliens had a cartoon.
I don't remember an Alien cartoon.
But like RoboCop had a cartoon, and it was just a weird time that they made toys based on R-rated movies.
Yeah, you're right. RoboCop was an odd choice for kids' toys. But Masters of the Universe, it was just a kind of silly thing. Like I said, a commercial for the toys, basically. Mattel came up with, and you can see in the movie, it's produced by Mattel. Mattel owns He-Man and Masters of the Universe. And I was very surprised when I went to the theater. They mistakenly started playing Ghostbusters 2 instead of He-Man. But I liked the show at the time, but it's not something that has stayed with me into adulthood the way like something like Star Wars has.
And it really hasn't had reboots in the past 40 years.
They have had some reboots, but I didn't really get too far into them. There was an animated reboot a few years ago that Kevin Smith produced. And I watched the first season of that, and it actually was good.
That sounds like that would be good.
That's on Netflix. If you have the ability to watch Netflix, that's available on there. They did 2 seasons of that. I only did see the first season. I meant to watch the second and didn't. But then there also was a She-Ra reboot, which was more in the style of anime than the look of the original.
I think that's shown up on my feed.
Yeah, I've never seen that, but it was very popular. But the original show was a very cheesy show. You know, it wasn't a fantastic show by any means, but it was a good show for kids. Kids liked it. So this movie is made by, I got to give a lot of credit to this director because he obviously loved the original show, but also is keenly aware of how cheesy the original show was. But he sort of embraces the cheese of it. When they did the original movie version back in the 80s, it seemed like they were afraid to include a lot of elements from the show. They, ignored things like his Tiger Cringer. A lot of the characters from the show weren't included. They created some new characters instead. Characters that you really like from the show were not in that movie, and it was a little disappointing going to see. Plus, they weren't even on Eternia for most of the movie. It was all took place on Earth. Yeah. So this is sort of a little bit of a reverse of that, where they go from Eternia to Earth, where he's on Earth and comes to Eternia.
Okay.
But the premise of it is, which if you've seen the trailer, is that as a child, Prince Adam, who becomes He-Man, in order to save him, his mother sends him to Earth to hide him. And then as an adult, he finds the Sword of Power and gets taken back to Eternia, just to find that Skeletor has basically taken over everything and destroyed everything that he knew when he was a kid. Taken over the Fightlands. Yeah. And so he sort of has to join with the people who are still loyal to his father and are fighting for the freedom. And it's a familiar type of story, but it's with all these characters. They embrace a lot of the weirder characters that were in the original show, and they sort of acknowledge the cheesiness of some of it, and a lot of it is done very tongue-in-cheek. And it's not ridiculing the show. It's not, I don't know if you remember the Brady Bunch movies.
Which was a complete farce of the Brady Bunch.
So it doesn't go that far. Yes. It's not being a satirical version of the cartoon, but it is acknowledging with a wink and a nod, we know this is...
So, Austin Powers was satirical, but it also was a love letter to Bond.
Yeah, it was kind of a satirical version of Bond. I wouldn't call this a satire. There is a lot of humor, there is a lot of tongue-in-cheek humor, but it also embraces the action elements. There's a lot of great action. Overall, it's just kind of a fun movie. It's the kind of movie you want to see in the summer. Which we really don't get. A lot of the movies that have come out this summer are either movies that I would say, that's an odd choice to be a summer tentpole movie, or they're just a little depressing. Even though I'm looking forward to seeing the new Spider-Man movie, when you look at the trailer, it's so grayed out. And a lot of movies are this way.
Peter is so sad.
Yeah, and he's so sad.
Where he is.
And it's it seems like it's just lacking a little bit of joy. And this movie is filled with that. So I got to say, it's the best movie I've seen so far this summer season, or not the best movie, but the movie I've enjoyed the most this summer movie season, and quite possibly year to date, because a lot of movies are just lacking that kind of joy. Everything's very downbeat or cynical or gray, and this is just popping with color, popping with energy.
Which is ironic because the bad guy's castle is Grayskull.
Yeah, that's true. But it's not doing well in the box office, unfortunately. The week it came out, you would have expected it to be number 1, but it fell victim to these 2 horror movies that have just been cleaning up in the box office this past month. Obsession and Backrooms. Those are like two small, almost like independent horror movies that are just cleaning up. They've made like almost those, 160 million or more each total so far in just the month or so that they've been out. But He-Man, which probably cost at least that much to make, has only made around like 44
So
million or
what,
something like that.
besides Mattel, who made it? Warner Brothers?
Actually, it's Amazon. So,
Okay, so it'll be on Prime.
No doubt it'll be on Prime. I don't know how long. I kind of hope that they'll give it, and Amazon isn't known for letting movies be out. They're like Netflix. They put them out to get a little bit of notice,
Yeah.
and then they just dump them back on streaming. But I'm hoping that they will let this out because those two movies that we just mentioned, the horror ones, they've been out a while. They were already out like a week or two before they became number one. They became number one on like their second or third week. So I'm hoping the studios take notice and realize that movies sometimes need some word of mouth
Yeah.
to get the audience out there. It's not all about the marketing.
I mean, if they took Jaws out, Jaws was successful right away, but if they took Jaws out of the theater after 6 weeks,
Yeah.
we wouldn't have the summer blockbuster.
Yeah, 50 years ago, movies stayed out for like almost a year when they were really successful. And, movies would stay out for months, most movies. But I'm hoping that this movie catches on and it does well because the director, in every interview I've seen him with, they keep asking him about his plans for a sequel. And you can tell that he has plans for a sequel. And I'm interested in seeing what he wants to do in a sequel, because he does tease it in both. There's a mid-credit scene and a after-credits scene. So it is worth staying through the credits to watch those. And there's a character that, we've mentioned that he mentioned several times in interviews that he wants to bring that character back in a sequel, and that character is sort of teased. So, yeah, that's that movie. I forgot what else I was going to say. I was going to say something else, and then I lost my train of thought about it. But that was, I enjoyed it. I wouldn't mind seeing it again. There's a lot of other movies to see.
Yeah.
I thought very seriously about either going to see Obsession or Backrooms, but I'm kind of feeling like now those are two that I'd rather wait to see in October so we could talk about them during Halloween. Because if I see them now, it's not going to be fresh in my memory.
Yeah.
So hopefully they'll be streaming or on DVD or something by October so we can talk about them then.
And if they're like indie-made movies, they'll be on streaming, but they have a better chance of also getting a DVD release.
Yeah, I think so. Sure, have you seen the trailer for Backrooms?
No, I never even saw the trailer for He-Man.
Oh, you really never? Oh, it's worth seeing. At least the trailer. The movie too. But Backrooms, I saw the trailer when I went to go see some other movie. I don't remember what movie I went to go see, but they showed the trailer for that. And sometimes when I go to see a movie and they start showing the trailers, like when I'm seeing the trailers, I'm like, what kind of movie is it that I've come to see where these are the trailers that they're showing me? Because the trailers seem out of place with the movie.
Because for so long, the trailers were like connected
Yeah.
by some thematic thread to the film you were seeing. All family-friendly movies for a Disney movie.
But that trailer for Backrooms, and I still can't recall what movie it was that I went to go see. But, it doesn't look like it's a typical horror movie where, there's jump scares and like a monster chasing people or a killer or any of that. The premise of it is that someone working in a furniture store finds, like, I don't know if it's a portal or something, but is able to walk through this wall and finds this empty back room. And he starts going through it, and there's like room after room after room. It's like you could get lost in it. And watching the trailer, it's just like unnerving watching it. And I guess it's based on a web series. I guess it's like a trend online for people to make, or this is based on like a short film or something that he did online, or a series of web episodes or something. But I know I've seen the trend of people going into actual defunct malls and exploring the back rooms of those malls. I've seen several videos like that. It's like, I don't know why people do that, but I think that inspired this. So,
I mean, in Providence, someone lived in the mall for
if you haven't seen that
years.
movie yet, I recommend that. Anyway, before we waste too much time talking about a movie we haven't seen, very quickly, Disclosure Day. Like I said, Steven Spielberg's next
Alien movie.
Alien movie, thank you. It's a pretty decent conspiracy thriller. It's got a lot of excitement. It's got some really good performances, especially by Emily Blunt, who plays one of the two main characters. The premise of it is that Josh O'Connor plays someone who worked for this shadowy private corporation that is sort of controlling all this footage or proof of the existence of extraterrestrials. They somehow, I guess they're maybe like government contractors, but it's not the government that's created this conspiracy to conceal the existence of aliens from the world. It's this corporation that owns it all. And he has discovered this working for them and has stolen proof of it and is intending to unleash that to the world. So he's being chased down by the thugs from this corporation. Now, the second part of the storyline is Emily Blunt's character is just this weather girl from like Missouri, who all of a sudden develops this ability to read people's thoughts, or not even read people's thoughts, but she just knows stuff about them just by looking at them. And at the same time, she could also like speak languages that she never has spoken before and doesn't even realize that she's doing it as she's doing it. So suddenly she starts having thoughts of Josh O'Connor's character, and she realizes that she has to find him. So it's their two parallel storylines eventually converging. And what you eventually find is that they're sort of two halves of the same coin, that they're sort of two people that are destined to work together to help reveal the existence of aliens to the world. So it's pretty good. I liked it, but it's not Steven Spielberg's best movie. I would honestly say if I didn't know that Steven Spielberg directed it, I wouldn't have known it by watching it. Because, there are certain things that you describe as being Spielbergian when you're watching a movie. There are certain elements.
Type of humor, a certain type of heart.
Exactly. And I didn't find that type of humor in the movie. I didn't find that there was really that type of heart. Like usually there's some sort of familiar relationship.
The kids in Jurassic Park, Robin Williams' kids in Hook.
Yeah, there isn't that in this movie. The only relationship, there are one character, that they had like a family member that died, and actually a couple of them did, but you don't see that relationship. And there's two characters that are in dating. Josh O'Connor at the beginning of the movie. The one part that did feel like a Spielberg movie to me, because it felt kind of like the beginning of an Indiana Jones movie. Because every Indiana Jones movie starts with him midway through or at the end of his previous adventure.
Yeah. Well, that's because, it was this whole James Bond open thing.
Well, it's kind of like based on like this old movie serials.
Yeah.
Where there'd always be a new adventure starting. So this movie drops you in where Josh O'Connor's character has already stolen he's got all these flash drives that he's stolen from that corporation. and he's in the middle of a drop where they want him to give back the flash drives because they have kidnapped his girlfriend. So he's doing a trade-off of the drives for his girlfriend. And his girlfriend, her name's Jane, she's kind of like the third. She's not really as big of a main character as the other two, but she becomes almost more of an interesting character than Josh O'Connor's character, even though he's technically the main character and he's the driving force behind the storyline. She's given actually a lot more to do than he is. Like, thematically, like you really never get to know too much about his character, but you learn a lot about hers, and she actually has an arc to her story, which he doesn't really have as much of. And by the end of the movie, he seems a little less important to the story than Emily Blunt's character, who sort of... Emily Blunt, this is probably the best performance that I've ever seen her in. She's always good.
Yeah.
But she's always in things where she's being overshadowed by co-stars, like whether it's Meryl Streep or whoever else. She's in The Rock or whoever else she's in a movie with. But she's always been a great actress. But this is something where I've actually been like, wow, watching her performance in it. She was really good. I don't think she'll get any sort of Oscar nomination for because of the type of movie that it is.
It's
it's not
the sad thing with it being science fiction. Like it's not 1977. Like where I think Close Encounters did get some awards, but
even then, science fiction wasn't that. Usually it's just get technical awards.
It was a lot pulpier in the 70s than it is now.
Yeah.
Science fiction has become mainstream, except just not mainstream according to the people that know better about what makes a good movie.
So as far as where it lands among Steven Spielberg's, catalog of films.
Better than The Lost World?
You know what?
If we include the movies he executive produced or just directed.
I'm just talking movies he's directed. He directed Lost World, though.
He directed The Lost World.
Maybe even on par with Lost World.
Because I don't hate The Lost World. I don't like a lot of the...
I mean, Lost World's not a perfect movie. It's not nearly as good as Jurassic Park. But
right.
It falls mid-tier. It's better than AI, which is one of his worst. It's better than the one that I really hate. Thank you. What's that one that was Ready Player One?
Yeah.
That's one of his worst movies in AI, which I rewatched this past week. Not on purpose, but I just said, well, maybe it'll be better than I remembered. It wasn't.
No.
But it's definitely better than those movies, but it's not as good as, obviously nothing is going to touch Jaws and Raiders of the Lost Ark. If he ever created anything that was on par with those, I'd be shocked. Because those are just exceptions. They're exceptional. But, if you think about his later really excellent things, like Catch Me If You Can, I love that movie.
Yes, that's an excellent one.
Saving Private Ryan and
Amistad.
Even something like Amistad, those are really great movies. This is not touching those movies either.
Yeah.
So it falls, it's not lower tier, but it's not the best of the best or even the worst of the best. It's mid-level Spielberg. So quickly, before we run out of time, because we only got a few minutes left, what did you think of
Mandalorian
and Grogu?
Mandalorian and Grogu, and I was thoroughly disappointed.
Thoroughly.
I was disappointed because this is like a theatrical release. Pay $18 to see this movie, and it just feels like not even like a big finale episode of The Mandalorian. It just feels like another episode of The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Same problem I had with Star Trek 3, the third one of the Chris Pine.
Not Into Darkness, Star Trek Beyond.
Yeah, I thought that just felt like another episode. It just felt meh. It just felt, and it was a good storyline, except for the fact that it's the same exact plot as the Clone Wars. They have to rescue Jabba the Hutt's son.
Yeah.
It's a rescue plot to rescue Jabba the Hutt's son, which started Clone Wars and ends Mandalorian, the two of the best Star Wars TV shows.
I don't think it'll be the end of the Mandalorian because I think they still have plans. So I think we'll probably get like a second Mandalorian Grogu movie.
But without saying what it was, what was up with that post-credit scene? It was just...
Was there a post-credits?
There was a post-credit scene, and it was...
I didn't see it because I assume Star Wars doesn't do that, and it's like, I'm not staying through all these credits, so I got up and left.
It was just clips of the TV show.
Was it really?
It would have been better to have that at the beginning, previously on.
Yeah.
And it would have given the Joanne and Cletus a little bit of context, but you're just, it's Star Wars. Throwing them into the story is fine. That's how we started Star Wars. Just, we don't know what this ship is. It's just being chased by a bigger ship, and there's a battle, and we're all amazed by it.
Yeah. You know what I found an odd choice, and I got it right away, and apparently some people needed to have it explained to them, is the Top Gun opening credit sequence in the beginning of the movie, where after he does his whole little thing with the Imperial walkers, and he goes back to the Rebel base, they do this whole thing that is like an homage to Top Gun, where you've got all these X-wings silhouetted against the sunset. It's featured in the trailers. But I'm watching it, and it's like, you see all the ground crew working, and the X-wings landing and taking off, and
fly
it's like,
into the
zone.
danger zone.
You totally expected them to have Kenny Loggins singing a new Star Wars song, but it's like okay, that just kind of takes you out because you get that they're doing a Top Gun thing. Yeah, it's kind of on the nose, but it's like it kind of takes you out of the world of that. Thank you. So we've run out of time. We'll be back. Actually, we're going to be back in 3 weeks, not in 2 weeks. But coming out in that time, the new Supergirl movie, which I'm looking forward to seeing. I went on about how I'm excited to see Lobo in that. So we'll see that. I'm not sure what's coming. Oh, Toy Story 5, too. That comes out this week.
Which is ironic because the villain in this is Steve Jobs' creation, and Steve Jobs was integral in creating Toy Story 1.
Yeah. So we'll probably have seen both those by then. So thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time. Have a good night.